No, you do not. I've not seen that one before. So anyway, yeah.
You know what I like? Starting the podcast. Hi everyone, welcome to the Semi-Bookish podcast.
What do you want? I'm not here.
You're not here?
I'm just kidding.
Where are you? I can't see you from behind.
I am the clone of Tony the Ison. They're on vacation.
Mentally, I'm far away. Physically, I am here.
They decided to go hunt down Middle Earth to see if it really existed. Despite Tolkien's notes, I think I can get there, or they think they can get there, since I am the clone.
Any word back?
Well, they don't like to communicate with me. They just like me to do things that they don't want to do.
Nice.
Like, be employed.
Well, then, on that note, clone of Tony, what are you reading, watching, playing, doing? Because
of course.
Because you're already talking about it. Go ahead.
True. Okay, so I am not really a clone, first of all. But anyway, just in case anyone actually believed that.
We should have gaslit everyone for that. Why did you break that? Oh my god.
So my reading life is very basic right now. I'm going through and reading all of the things that first impacted the first version of Writer Tony that ever existed, or at least the first series version. So that would have been starting in middle school. So I'm starting with this book called Darth Maul Shadowhunter, written by Michael Reeves. It is an extraordinarily well-made book. Like, it's the kind of thing that's like, this doesn't matter that this is Star Wars, or that it's written by a guy who primarily wrote for television for most of his career. This is a really well put together book. Structurally, the characters are great, you know, the way he explores them and all that kind of thing. So it's just a really, really solid book. And it's the very first book that I ever studied as a person, as a human. I didn't realize, I think I knew that that's what I was doing, but it's also the kind of thing of like, wait, I've read this book over and over again for 6 months. I think it's because I'm trying to learn from it, kind of thing. So that was the first one, and then I'm just going to keep moving forward up until like my early college reading, where I was starting to read people like Sanderson and Rothfuss and Jemison and all those, you know, people that I still read to this day. So there's that. That's really easy. What I'm watching is way more interesting right now, because what I'm playing right now is Jedi Survivor, again, because I'm a simp for Cal Kestis. Anyway, I am watching Brandon Sanderson's writing lectures. So he has several, I think, years worth of his writing lectures on his YouTube channel. He's bundled the 2020 lectures and the 2025 lectures. I have taken, I think, as far back as 2013 may have been the first series of lectures, whichever his first year of teaching was at BYU, which I can't remember. I think I took that one, and then I took the 2021, and then I'm taking the 2025 one. And what I love about repeat takings of it is that he has refined the concepts that he always talks about. He's refined them all because he's better and he uses them more often, but he also has learned how to explain himself a lot better, both as a teacher and as a writer. So there are certain things that even now, like in this 2025 lecture, that I'm like, oh my God, I know he's right, because everything he just said vibes with everything that I've learned about writing, but also, how did I not see that those 3 words make it really simple? Like, for example, he says that every story operates on 3 things: promise, progress, and payoff. And suddenly, everything that I have been enjoying lately, I was like, oh, he's right. Oh, that's so... It's just concise and clear and great. So I'm learning from that. I am going to plug a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to plug, because it takes less time, is Wheel of Time Season 3. Mm-hmm. If you're not a Wheel of Time reader, I really recommend watching the show. Give Season 1 your most patience. Because as a TV show, it's all over the place. They didn't know what to do with that first book. They were like, wait a minute. Because, like, it changes formats. Not formats, but it changes what it's trying to do literally 4 episodes in. Like, they're like, cool, adventure story with these 4 farm kids going on, and they're showing their power. And then all of a sudden, we reach the big city and Aes Sedai tower drama. Like, it just suddenly turns into this big old, like, why are all these angry witches fighting each other in a tower without power? They're just using their words, right? You know, it becomes a bit of a, like, Aes Sedai soap opera between, like, imagine going, it's kind of a mess in the same way that Phantom Menace is a mess, right? Like, you're like, oh, cool, they're going along, trade embargo, random slave kid? Why? Right? It's similar to that, but be patient with it, because season 2 is still one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. And season 3 handles the weird magic of Wheel of Time in such a really cool, interesting... You go in wanting these characters to be as powerful as they are now because they've had experience and the dragon has been reborn and this whole thing. But it's really fascinating to watch, like, these televised versions of Robert Jordan's characters lean into complexity. So you want to be angry at them at certain points, but you're like, no, but you have to do that thing, because if you don't do that thing, then you won't be able to be a really cool superhero magic person, which you need to do in order to defeat the Dark One. And, like, you're rooting for them even when they're doing things that you're like, Rand, stop sleeping with the Dream Lady in your dreams because she's trying to kill your real woman. Make a choice. Like, it's a whole thing. It's fascinating. I love it. Anyway, so that's Wheel of Time. And then the other thing I really wanted to ding, the 2018 anime adaptation of the 1980s manga. Right? Yeah, swallow that one. Banana Fish.
We love Banana Fish.
It sounds... Okay, when you hear the words Banana Fish, I remember pitching this to someone who's, like, they're big manga anime people, and they literally laughed. I was like, you guys should watch Banana Fish, and they laughed, and then I couldn't laugh with them because I'm like...
You don't have any idea?
There's no sense of humor in this show. For a very good reason. There's no comedic... Like, I think there's one episode where they open, like, in the first 10 minutes... No, the first, like, 5 minutes is slapstick humor. And I remember feeling so lost. I was like, wait a minute. Why are we doing... Wait, this is not the anime I signed up for. What's happening? And then I realized, without that 5 minutes of slapstick on it, that begins, I think it's episode 5 or something... Everything that comes after would hurt so much more, because when I tell you this show should never have a sense of humor, because it's literally 24 episodes of you watching this 17-year-old street kid take down the, like, boss, because the boss had literally raised him to replace him, and the kid is like, you know what? I actually don't like any of the stuff that you've done to me, and now you're messing with my brother. I'm taking you down. And that sounds like it could be light and fun.
No.
It's not. In any way, shape, or form. But it's one of the best stories I've ever seen across all mediums, across all, like, anything. It is... beautifully told. The music, Blue and Count, like, I want to literally go to a Blue and Count concert just so I can hear them do the opening number to the second half of Banana Fish, because Blue and Count makes me, like, but they're, Aaron knows what I mean when I say Blue and Count, they're a big,
they're a big deal.
Band, I don't know, anyway.
J-pop.
They are J-pop, thank you, yes, they're so good. Anyway, so that's my rant. I told Erin to remind me to rant about Banana Fish, so there.
And I did.
Yeah, she did.
I did
so
my
there you
job.
go. Yeah, you should all watch Banana Fish. If you're trigger and content warning, if you cannot handle CSA,
then you will not like.
Then
this.
you should just hang it up, because it's not graphic. They're not showing you, but that's the whole point. That's who Ash.
It's talked about.
That's who Ash is. So you just can't avoid that. But also, you should be watching the show for AG, because AG is everything. Anyway. Grant, what entertains you lately?
What entertains me?
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, am I not entertained?
No, Gladiator 2, I am not entertained. Not that I'm ever going to talk about that again.
Well, I mean, speaking of Gladiator 2, hold on, let me see if... Movie. So there's a movie, they're literally casting Paul Mescal.
As one of the Beatles? Yes.
Yeah,
and you know who one of the...
Keoghan.
Eric Keoghan is one of the Beatles.
Is Ringo... I think we just need one Beatles movie, personally.
Joseph Quinn is in it.
Yeah, he's one of... Yeah. No,
And then-
they're giving us 4 different films. Is it because they're doing, like, 4 different films from each person's perspective, like a
Yes.
Rashomon kind of thing?
Kind of. Yeah, I think so. They're trying to
I
marvel.
have a question. Are there... I have a question.
Yes.
Are there any other actors in Hollywood?
Listen.
It's
I am
name like 10 people.
But I am here for the rise because remember when I talked about how Paul Mescal and he's one example, Paul Mescal and Barry Keoghan, one of the things that I love about them is that they are like so many of the other guys of their age. They don't care who they're kissing on screen. Male, female, like trans, cis, anybody. They will go for it, and I love that we're living in that time period because like Timothy Chalamet could literally win an Oscar for anything, and it could be because he's kissing a girl, it could be because he's kissing a dude, it could be because he's kissing nobody. I'm just here for.
Barry is playing Ringo Starr, so it's there.
Exactly,
there.
and Barry. Yeah. Anyway, so.
I'd be interested to see like how if they whitewash the stories of these people, especially John Lennon, because he was in many ways he was not a stand-up individual. But
yeah, we'll see. If they cast someone absolutely ridiculous as Yoko, then we know they're not taking it seriously. But anyway, Grant, what are you entertained by that has actually come out?
Man, I'm gonna be boring and quick because I'm not indulging in almost anything. I mean, I'm about to start a certain anime that Tony has kindly let me borrow their collection of.
FMAB?
FMAB? Sure.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. Anyway. Yes.
Which is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yes.
So that is what I'm going to be watching next. I haven't seen a single movie since the last movie I've seen. Right now I'm reading another Mircea Eliade book, Myth and Reality, which is kind of just, it expands on some stuff in the previous one that I read.
Oh, cool.
I also started The Accursed Share by George Bataille. I believe I talked about him briefly in the past. He kind of did it all. He became known for his literature. He wrote The Story of the Eye, which is probably his most well-known book / novella, whatever. But anyways, The Accursed Share is kind of the glue that holds his entire project together, apparently.
Sure.
It deals with a lot of themes that he covers, either in his fiction or nonfiction. And the title, The Accursed Share, basically just refers to... Okay, I'll go back a little bit. So...
We're getting context.
Yes, context. So, in this book, he lays out his theory of what he calls a general economy, which can involve, like what we typically think of as the economy, but really it's a much broader thing. It's like all in his eyes, all the movement of energy, blah 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 blah. So systems, whether it be economic or interpersonal or blah blah blah, whatever. And the accursed share is the share of said energy that must go unspent. So it must either be wasted or spent lavishly or exhausted lavishly. And he talks about this in a multitude of ways, either in war, which he sees as a massive, like if there's too much pressure, kind of a massive, whatever of energy and expenditure. He talks a lot about transgression, and he sees eroticism as another way that this overabundance of energy is expelled.
Sure.
Technically uselessly, but in a productive way nonetheless. But yeah, so it covers a lot of stuff. It's very interesting so far. I'm halfway through volume 1. I have volumes 2 and 3 after this.
Wow. Okay, a 3-volume thing. That's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to work on going through his actual literature and stuff.
Sure.
I haven't done that yet.
I'm sure after 3 volumes of this, there will be a springboard in there somewhere of this keeps coming up. I wonder if I should read that one.
And I'm doing this first just to kind of have a better grasp of his system.
Yeah.
And, because from my understanding, it touches everything that he does. So
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That's what I'm doing.
Nice.
Hi. Okay. Books. So I'm buying these when we get out of the podcast episode. So these are what I'm going to be starting. John Scalzi, because I follow him on Blue Sky and he's fantastically hilarious.
He's also a really funny writer.
He has a lovely science fiction that just came out.
Oh, yeah, what was that? Is that when the moon hits your eye? Yeah.
Like a big pizza pie?
Yes.
So the theme of the book is the moon has turned into cheese.
Nice.
Like, that's it. That's it.
I feel like that would cause massive problems for us.
Literally the first 2 lines for, like, my little overview thing on this is, the moon has turned into cheese, and now humanity has to deal with it. That's it. And I'm like, I feel like that's, like, the perfect, just, like...
Which is so funny, because Scalzi's last book, Starter Villain, is about a cat who is a corporate boss.
Yeah, no,
So I'm like, is Scalzi just watching his cats and
Yes.
like, you know what,
he posts pictures of his cats all the time.
That's
literally like, if you follow him on Blue Sky, like, most of his posts, besides just being done with the world, which I mean mood,
Right.
John Scalzi, he just posts pictures of his cats.
See,
and it makes me happy because somebody's just as fed up with the world as I am, and the only way that they can cope
is
just,
cats.
They're cats.
I am so curious
mood.
how much of him is aware of, like, because science fiction and fantasy writers tend to do this, especially particularly like of Scalzi's generation and older. They tend to know that other people have done things, like Ursula Le Guin, for example, like went later in her life when she was like, I'm done writing novels because I'm old and I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
She literally was like, she would write short things like haikus from the perspective of my cat, and then she'd write like a little short essay from the perspective of her cat. And I'm like, did Scalzi just happen
Yes.
across one of those and was like, I can do better than that. I can write a novel about
Who
a cat.
knows? The other book, and it's actually sitting in the back room right now because I have to catalog it, and I've been obsessed with trying to get this book in the collection, and so I finally have. It is called Murder by Memory. It is a skinny little book.
Yes,
It's by Olivia Waite.
Yeah.
And it is so if you like Becky Chambers, like A Song for the Wild Bill,
Is it more space lesbians?
wait for it. So it's Becky Chambers meets Miss Marple.
So space lesbians.
Yes. So
There's quite a lot of space lesbians out there right now, which I'm so geeked about because I'm like, of course.
I don't
Of course.
You have your swamp lesbians, your sky lesbians. So,
yes.
Exactly.
It's just, so she's on an airship, like she's on an interstellar ship, and the main character is one of the ship's detectives.
Oh,
And somebody's been murdered on the ship, so she has to figure out who did it. And it's a little short, like, it's short like the Becky
Like
Chambers
super
books.
short, yeah. Yeah.
But, like, it's also a sci-fi, and I'm like, that's perfect.
Did you ever
I
read
love it here.
Station Eternity, the Mur Lafferty book? Because that's another, like,
No.
space detective thing that I think you might write
The
with.
other thing that I'm going to be buying is, it's a cozy fantasy, and it's called The Drizzle of Magic. It's by S. Usher Evans. And
Oh,
it is
that sounds
basically, so this character, Lily, she is a magical folk, and there was a war in their kingdom, whatever. She just wants to be a baker, so she moves to this little cozy little town to become a baker, and now she's getting threatening notes because apparently she might have been the villain.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
But it
That
turns
just
out
took
that
me like, wait, what?
she might be the villain, or people just have a vendetta against magical creatures kind of thing going on. And I haven't figured that out yet.
I really want to know more, actually, which I don't say often with cozy fantasy.
There is also an audiobook version of it, which is great. But meanwhile, what I'm also doing is I'm watching ER, like I said, I think last
Like
episode.
a fiend, you're watching.
I'm on
VR.
season 4.
oh wow.
Yeah, and
I'm
you
on-
started what, like a couple of weeks ago?
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna yeah. Now, how many episodes per season? Because
22.
Oh, okay, so it's a classic 22 episode. Yeah, but then you don't have commercials either, so
No.
that's kind of nice with streaming. Yeah.
And if I'm really uncomfortable, there's the little 10-second forward button, and so if it's something I'm super uncomfortable with, I can just hit skip forward.
What makes you uncomfortable in medical dramas? I'm so curious.
In medical dramas?
Yeah.
If I see the inside of somebody.
Yeah, isn't that gross?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I see the inside of somebody, and the main thing with the medical drama is sometimes they have to deal with things in certain ways. Like right now we're in season 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in season 2, there's a character and her name is Jeannie Boulet. Jeannie Boulet is originally from season 1, so like she's been in this whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
She was a physical therapist who went to school to become a physician's assistant.
Oh, cool. Okay.
She ends up, and I'm just gonna, go off on their character now.
Spoilers!
It's been out since the 90s. If
Yeah, I
you
know,
haven't
exactly.
watched it, what are you doing? Anyway, so she gets in an affair with the character Peter, but like one of the main characters with Peter. However, she's also married to this guy at the time, so it's like an affair.
Yeah.
Turns out she tests positive for HIV. Her
In
husband,
1980 when?
this is 1995, 1996. Turns out it's not her that originates with the HIV. She got it from her husband, and he never told her.
So is this the plot's way of telling you her husband's probably gay?
No, I don't.
And also cheating on her, or?
Don't know.
Okay.
They never really expand on that part.
Okay.
She divorces him for a hot minute, even though he's still involved, especially up to this season. Like, they're still involved with each other, but not, like, romantically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're trying to get, like, the divorce settled and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she has a relationship with Peter, and she finds out that they have HIV afterwards, and so they both have to go get tested. So she has it, he doesn't. He doesn't. However, she's also now working as a physician's assistant in the hospital, taking AZT and doing all the stuff while she has HIV actively.
Interesting.
So her plot line is how the hospital deals with having somebody who is HIV positive on staff.
As a staff. That
And
is
so there's like
interesting.
literally like a whole entire section. I'm like halfway through season 4, but there's like a whole section in season 3 where they find out, because she's been keeping it a secret from everybody.
Yeah.
And
This is like right after
the main
AIDS.
character, Mark Green, like he was like the main character. He's also white, and there's like a whole other couple of storylines that I will talk about later that have to deal with him. But like he finds out, and so it gets, leaked out. And so they have to come up with a way.
Sorry, my spidey sense just
Mine
made
did
me-
too.
Yeah.
But they have to figure out how they're going to get this all figured out and taken care of.
Yeah.
And at first, Mark is completely like against like her doing anything that has to handle blood in the first place, like in terms of like deep cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
But then he, I think, accidentally gets his head hurt.
Oh.
And she's like the only one around, and she's like, do you want me to go get somebody else? And he's like, no, you do it. And so like he kind of comes around to it. Mark, however, who's the main character at the time, has a whole lot of other things to deal with. He has an episode where so this is really cool during the time frame too, because this is also Chicago. This is Chicago in the 90s.
Right, yeah.
But he has a white kid and a black kid both come in at the same time because they are both having the same issue from the same problem. And he immediately goes to the white kid first, and then the black brother calls him out on it, and he gets sued.
Whoa, oh.
Because Mark has this weird, like, it's a weird episode because, like, I can kind of see both ends going on.
Yeah.
And I think that's just white woman, like, I can see both sides.
Maybe, but it could also just be they didn't know what else to do in the TV because there's no
both
example.
of them were shot. And the thing is they couldn't tell if the black kid was the gangbanger or not.
So they assume.
Turns out he assumes. Turns out the white guy deals crack. And
It's because it's Chicago.
Yeah.
And if anyone's seen Shameless, you know.
yes. And so it's a whole entire thing, and it lasts so long, and it gets to the point where somebody gets really mad at him about how he handled their mom, and he gets literally beat up in the parking lot, like in the parking garage. And so now in season 4, he has PTSD from being beat up in the parking garage while he's being sued by that same guy. It's a whole thing.
That's so interesting.
And so he's dealing with that. There's like a lot of things that they touch on during this time frame, which I'm like, wow. And the N-word was just casually used on the episode too.
Well, I mean,
By the black guy, of course. But
Sure.
The main, there was no hard R.
But you're not used to seeing that.
No. But the Hulu subtitles didn't give it the A.
No.
They went the hard R.
Oh.
And so I'm watching it. I'm going, no, what is happening? I was so freaked out. I was like, no way, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So like I was like hitting the skip button for like a minute because I was just like, I can't deal with this right now.
Wow.
But like,
Speaking of subtitles doing weird things, I didn't realize, and I don't know if it's because Brandon is paying people on YouTube to really do really cool things with subtitles, but he was in one of his, I think it's the first lecture of the 2025 ones, he's talking and whatever, and he's recognizing different people who've taken the class before, and one of the students is like, hey, you, L, and the student is like, yeah, L, and he's like, it's not the letter L, right? It's like spelled out, and they're like, yeah, like E-L, like, Kal-El, and he's like, oh, cool, well, it's nice to see you, L. The subtitles
L
change. Like, it starts out with E-L-L-E, and then when Brandon recognizes how it's spelled and it's set out, then it changes after that to E-L, and I was like,
It's cool.
I've never seen anything like that before. And I was like, what kind of subtitle gods did he...
I think for its time, ER was really, like, kind of progressive in that aspect.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's really interesting because they're dealing with some really horrible things, and sometimes they don't handle it well, like the characters do not. But they do have those uncomfortable discussions about race and things like that, like in the aspect of Chicago during that time. There's gang violence, there's all these different things, and so you're seeing these conversations.
Yeah.
Yes, it's through a 90s lens, so like some of these things I'd be like, oh, why are we talking about it like that? But like there are those moments where
and it gives you an idea, I think, when you watch shows like that that are doing that. It's particularly for me because, in 95 I was 7.
I was not born.
Oh.
I was barely conscious.
I was 7. Thanks for that.
Sorry.
It's fine. Oh, that was 30 years ago. Okay, Tony, don't think about it. Anyway. No, but what's interesting about that is that, like, it recontextualizes certain things that I remember from childhood. Like, it's like, oh, do I remember it really being like that? Was it really that big of a deal? And then you watch, like, an interview with Toni Morrison talking about O.J. Simpson literally as they're trying him, and she's calling, all of the media ridiculous, It's
like during the Casey Anthony trial.
Yeah, right, yeah, things like that. You just, like, you're like, did I remember that correctly? And then
was it really that big a deal? And then you watch a Nancy Grace episode,
yes, and then you're like,
oh, yeah, there it is.
That's right. It was a bigger deal. That
We haven't had, like, a big murder to pull us all together recently. I feel like we need something.
Yes, we have. It's called the United States of America. It is currently being murdered by its leaders.
You know what I mean.
Anyways, before we continue on to the actual thing, the last thing I'm doing is I'm playing Inzoi.
Oh,
which is the new Sims killer. Yeah. So right now it's in early access, and so a lot of people are kind of like, it's so boring, it's so dead, and I'm like, it's about as dead as Sims was when it first came out. Thank you very much. But anyways, I like it so far.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. They have 3 towns that you can live in. There's an American-themed one, there's an Indonesian-themed one, and then a Korean-themed one.
Oh.
I will say they need to get more, like, hairstyles and things like that because there's not enough, like, black hairstyles. But there's enough.
Yeah.
The texture's really good. I will say the one thing that I wish I could do was change, like, the age. Like, how long people stay a certain age and things like that.
Yeah.
I can't do that yet.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people complained about the AI, like, because there's generative AI, because you can input, like, text, and it'll output, like, a texture that you can apply to your clothes. You can input, like, text prompts, or you can input a picture and it will 3D print it.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And so you can insert that in there.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it could be.
Sure.
I tested it out because one of my friends was freaked out because they were like, we don't know if this is gonna, like, if it's stolen art, things like that. I asked it for a Pikachu the other day, like, just as a texture.
Yeah.
No. It gave me black dots with orange around it. So, like, it kind of knew.
It's trying.
But it didn't have anything that's, like, connected to it.
That's cool.
So I put in that, and I put in a jeans texture, and it didn't give me a jeans texture. So from what I know, from what the developers have said, their AI database is ethically, I'm using quotation marks here, produced.
Sure.
Because they're using their employees' own, like, artwork and things like that.
Okay, so it's basically, it already, if the person works for them, they own everything that they do anyway at work, so they just take from that.
It's,
that's
no,
cool.
so, like, the people who worked there would submit stuff.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Kind of thing.
Oh, I like that.
So,
That's
like,
cool.
everybody's kind of on board with what's already in the database.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that expands in the future.
Sure. Yeah.
But you can 3D print your own accessories. You can 3D print, like, it's nuts.
Fun.
Like, if you have, like, a really cool picture of, like, cinnamon roll, Like, you could put that in there, and you can make your own little plushie decoration that you can put up in the game. You can also upload your own textures. So if you went onto, like, Pinterest or something and you're just playing for yourself, you could upload a texture.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Or if you create a texture, you can upload that and then use that.
Nice.
Like, so it's very cool and fun to play. My character's working in a convenience store right now, and I'm so happy.
Like a Japanese convenience store?
Korean convenience store.
A Korean convenience store. Nice.
So she actually works in one, and then if you live in the American town, you can work at a surf shop. Like if you're on Jersey Shore, kind of surf shop. Or at an amusement park.
Okay, I can feel the amusement. Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
Because it's kind of like it looks like a Jersey Shore Myrtle Beach kind of thing, where there's like the different.
So it's basically like Long Island, but you know.
Because Coney Island.
That's what Coney. Thank you. Coney Island. Yeah.
So that's
Sorry, New Yorkers.
I think they're trying to base it off of LA, but like I'm just at the same time, I just get that vibe from it, especially with the surf shop bit. And it just reminded me of Jersey Shore, so I'm happy about that. I gotta play with the Indonesian world next to see what's available.
Yeah.
I'm really in love with the Korean world right now. I feel like the American one is just a little bit too empty for me, and I didn't like that.
Sure.
But we'll see. But you know what else I really like? The fact that we have had 100 episodes.
100 episodes? I still can't believe that.
So this is technically 101.
Yeah.
Because I uploaded, like, a little lost episode that, like, I had edited and finally put up.
Oh, you did? Oh, fun. It
was that part 2 of the fan fiction episode that kind of died.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I uploaded that, and so that's technically the 100th episode.
Oh, but still, that's great.
Like
I love it.
It's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
This has been 4 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah. See, it is crazy.
5 now, actually, close to it.
Oh.
And what have we learned?
Nothing. No. I don't. Do we want to start with the answer to that question? I don't know. What have we learned? Have you guys? I mean, I don't know. How do you feel as podcasters?
As what have I learned as a podcaster, or just what have I learned from all of us as a group in this time frame?
The former, the latter, we'll just say for often.
I mean, I think I had never done podcasting before this.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, I'm the one literally sitting in front of the laptop right now, actually recording it and staring at the recording.
She's our producer.
And
she's also our executive producer.
Yeah. So, I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Which was not really much of a learning curve because Andy did a lot of this stuff before me, and he just kind of gave me the tools and I ran with it.
Yeah.
But it's been very interesting, especially when coming up with episodes and stuff, going, what can we do to make this interesting, not only for us, but for everybody else?
Especially since we have so many episodes, and it's do you redo something that didn't work as well? How do you do that when you have two people who aren't there anymore?
And it's really
kind of
also interesting because some of the episodes that we are redoing or we're rehashing out, and you will all hear these eventually, but episodes that are coming out now that we're rehashing are from when we were sitting in the middle of COVID, and all we had in between us was a computer screen because we had to do half of this virtually because only half of us could be in the building at the same time, or even just in the same room.
Yeah.
And so there's those, and then it's really interesting to see how our opinions grow from there.
Yeah.
We have 2 less people now, but the expansion of not only our opinions and how we view things now is really interesting to see over the course of a 5-year run.
And I feel like it's easier. I think something that I've observed, I don't know if that I learned it, but I think something that I've observed is that it's easier for 3 people to do certain things that for example, I feel like when we had all 5 of us and we would read a book, right? It was hard to really talk about the book, even if we all had read it. Like the Hunger Games episode, for example. We had all experienced the Hunger Games in some way, shape, or form. Either we'd seen the movie, or we read the book, or we reread the book, or whatever. And that was hard to get through with 5 people because it was like, well, we're talking about one of literally the most popular properties since the year 2000.
And it's so prolific that it's relevant today.
Yeah, so how do you talk about that in a meaningful way? And then how do you do that with 5 voices, you know?
Talking over
yeah,
each
and
other.
I think for me, that is still one of my favorite episodes of like, that one and the Dune episode, I think I really liked both because we were able to really like get down to the nitty gritty of it, of both things. Which was hard to do with 5 people, I think. Do you know what I mean? All reading a book.
Reminder to Grant that Dune Awakening comes out next month.
The game?
Uh-huh. There's an MMO game.
I know.
Third-person open world game.
I know. And I'm glad that is actually going to be what it's going to be because the Game of Thrones Westeros game that I was promised is just a free mobile game.
And you can buy advanced access.
Listen, I just want to be a spice pirate. That's all I wanted.
Oh, I can't choose.
just thought I'd let you know that that's happening.
Yeah.
We're talking about our favorite
I know.
episodes.
Somehow I missed that Dune 3, like there's going to be a third Dune film.
Did you
I
know?
missed that last year.
Yeah.
Messiah.
Yeah, I think I misread the article because when I looked in the article on Reactor Mag, I was like, oh, I remember reading this article. I thought it was a joke. Apparently, it's not a joke. So I'm okay with that because
April Fools.
Denis can do no wrong, and neither can Timmy Shalls. So you know, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I don't like that he's weirdly dating a Kardashian,
Grant,
but
yeah.
Kardashians pass.
Do you have any favorite episodes?
Yeah.
What have you
Episodes? Well, I'll do favorite episodes first.
Sure.
Ones that come to mind, I remember having a ton of fun with the very first romance episode.
Interesting.
Just because we were kind of just messing around.
Sure.
And I got to bring up Fabio getting hit in the face with a seagull, which was the highlight for me. So.
I love that actually happened.
Yeah. The pictures are crazy.
So funny. I would love. Did we re-up the romance episode? I know we did a romance.
haven't done that yet.
Yeah, we should re-up the romance episode because it was fun, and I have different opinions because I've actually like intentionally dived into romance and have my own thoughts and opinions. But yeah, that would be fun.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm probably proudest personally of the BoJack episode, just because I feel like
BoJack Horseman episode.
I feel like I did an okay job with like the introduction and just talking about it and stuff and directing the conversation, but yeah.
I need to. That's one I have.
I need to re-listen
no.
to that one.
Yeah, exactly. I have no memory of it.
Because
And I need to, like-
watched a whole entire compilation of the humor so I can talk about it because I forgot to watch it.
Like no context.
Oh no.
I just ran in no context, like guns ablazing.
Which honestly is really the only way to watch BoJack initially because the first 3 seasons are literally just that. It's literally like episodic, like insanity. And then only by the time you get to season 4 are you like, wait a minute, this is going somewhere, isn't it?
I would very mildly disagree with you.
Because there's 6 seasons, right?
There are 6 seasons.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I think with season 2, there's definitely a concerted effort to like get something going, and then by season 3, I think you do have your standalone. It's kind of like the X-Files where you have your standalone episodes, and then you have your
like
mythology episodes. Your
yeah. No, that's a fair point. And it's been so long since I've seen it that I may be missing the line of demarcation there, but I do remember like that feeling changes as you keep watching, and so it's fun to just sort of like, particularly from the first 2 seasons, just handpick like, okay, cool, we'll watch this one. Why? Because Lisa Kudrow, voices an owl that BoJack dates. Why is BoJack dating an owl? He's a horse. It doesn't matter. Like it's that kind of thing. So, yeah.
I feel like my favorite episode, and I did mention this to Tony before, I have a couple favorite episodes.
Okay.
My first one is when we talked about Give Your Heart a Hug books. Because Andy was talking about the Rosie Project. And there's a whole entire section where he's talking about the Rosie Project, and I literally need to save this as like my ringtone or something just because it's so stupidly hilarious.
Great.
But there's like a moment where Andy's talking about a scene in the Rosie Project where he's like he's mistaken as somebody who's not like supposed to be with the kids.
Well, because he apparently, from what I remember, is he's basically like similar, like think of Sheldon Cooper,
Yeah.
and that's basically kind of who the character is, and his solution for finding out whether or not he wants to have kids, because I think Rosie...
He goes to the playground.
If he just goes to the playground and is like, well, I'll just talk to some kids and see what that's like. And we, as Andy's describing that, all of us go, oh no! And
the thing is, if you listen to the episode, all of us say it at the exact same time, in the exact same cadence, at the exact same volume. And so we all sound like one person, and it's caught perfectly.
because we realized that we did it in the moment, and then there's that great like podcast laugh. Yeah. And it's just one of the best moments of that. Probably the best moment of that. My other moment, though, I think, that you may mention or may not mention is in the first ever Smack episode. Because isn't that when you introduced Lord Eggington?
I introduced Lord Eggington on the Bridgerton episode.
I thought it was the
That's what it was. Okay, it's the Bridgerton episode.
Because
yes.
I can't. I'm trying to remember. Somebody told me to grab snacks ahead of time for some reason.
Me.
You.
Me.
Yes.
It was
and so
me.
I went and grabbed.
I thought Andy and Jen and Tony were all going to be fighting over it for a hot minute because.
And we weren't. We were all like, we love the show.
No, I thought they were actually because I thought you guys were just going to start getting into it. I was like, bring snacks. I want to eat something while they're doing this. And so you just brought out an egg.
Yeah.
Had you already drawn on it yet, or
No, it was more or less an
It came later.
It was an improvised thing.
It was the egg, and then the recorder.
Yeah.
I have to.
Oh yeah.
The recorder was my favorite because I'm like, okay, the egg already.
That actually the
That was
Star
for
Wars.
Dune.
That was the Dune episode.
Because I was like, Dune.
Oh, it was for the Dune episode. Yeah, the egg in the recorder was for Dune.
That was planned.
That was fantastic. It was.
That was planned.
Yes.
Between you and Andy.
No, but me.
Just you.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dune. So I gave Grant this little tidbit earlier, and I have to share this with the audience and watch Aaron's face as I say this. So the Sanderson lectures, right, that I'm currently watching, he decided to drop this little bombshell on his class and on the internet, and my whole face, I was like, he should be wrong, but he's not. He's like, hey guys, it's okay to steal a plot from something that works really well and use it for your own thing because your own thing is going to be its own thing. For example, everyone knows that Dune is Hamlet, right? And I went, say what? He's like, even down to the whole thing with the uncle. And I was like,
oh my god, it is!
Right? See? That's what I was waiting for. Because I did exactly the same thing. And I was like, I can't. And then he goes, I mean, I was going to say Lion King, but everybody already knows that Lion King is Hamlet. But think about this. Dune is Lion King.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, stop the tape. What is going on? In the entire cinematic universe, Dune and Hamlet and Lion King share plot. What is happening? So anyway, that was just relevant to Dune.
Oh my god, that's just...
Isn't that weird?
I mean, it's kind of like how also Warm Bodies, the movie, is Romeo and Juliet.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can get past that.
Or how the first Twilight is basically Pride and Prejudice with the vampires.
Yeah, we already knew that, though.
Yeah, but why do people get angry about sparkling vampires? I'm like, it's Pride and Prejudice. It was never supposed to be Interview with the Vampire. Get over yourselves, people. Anyway.
I will say my other favorite episode is the Star Wars episode, the first Star Wars episode.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty heated.
It's because Aaron actually gets up and gets literal popcorn right in the middle of the episode. That was in the microwave in the community room.
Right, so
like it had just been.
So for the audience, so initially the reason that I had the popcorn was because I made it a point every time Andy and Tony and Jen started fighting or debating.
Often.
I kept making a comment and I just go, I really want popcorn for this. Like, I should be, like, where's the popcorn emoji? Like, I should just be eating
Because
popcorn.
she always had Pepsi. She had the drink. She just needed the snack to go with the drink.
And so, one day, I think I was just getting there late. Not late to work, but just, like, it was a later day in general.
I think you were coming off desk or something. Or no, that's right. You were arriving late because you were late. Yeah.
And so, what happened was I sat there and I'm sitting at home and I'm going, oh... I need food. Like, I need to actually bring food. Because, like, I usually bring a bagel before when I come to work every single day. It's, like, part of my routine. And so I turned around and I made my bagel. And then I sat there and I went, I should make popcorn. So the thing is, in that microwave when I went to go get the popcorn was already popped. I did not pop that.
Right.
right before the episode. I brought that from my house.
Oh.
Already popped. And what I did was I brought it, walked downstairs before we started because I had to set up the room because nobody else had set up the room yet.
Oh yeah, because I think we were all on desk.
We were in the
before you got
community
there.
room,
Yeah,
yes.
and then you set up. Yeah.
And I set up the room, and so I walked downstairs. I walked all the way over to the kitchen, and I put it in the microwave. Told absolutely nobody that it was there.
Yep.
And then I went and sat back down after I'd set everything back up again.
Yeah.
And so that popcorn in the microwave was just literally from my house. I was considering putting it in a bowl beforehand and just bringing out the bowl, but I thought it would be more entertaining if I actually opened up the bag.
So instead of Chekhov's gun on the mantelpiece law, we should have Bloom's law of popcorn in the microwave.
Yeah.
You know.
And so that's the story about how the popcorn got in the microwave.
That's so funny.
So I literally brought it for the bit because I knew that episode was going to get heated.
I mean...
It did get heated, but not as much as I thought it would.
No. I think the Star Wars episode where we had one of my favorites is the Star Wars episode where we had the one of the guys from Red Raptor come over.
Was it Tim?
Yeah, it was Tim.
Hey,
he was
shout out to Tim.
Because I loved how he was able to very quickly balance mine and Andy's very different Batman opinions.
The funny
by
part
saying, I like Batman because Batman's Batman,
It was like
but
the
I like this
superhero
Batman
episode.
better than this other. And it was just like, wait a minute. He likes Andy's Batman and Tony's Batman? All right, fine.
Which Batmans did you guys like?
So Andy is a fan of violent Batman, like Batman that just will literally stop at nothing to get his way, which is a very it's a classic pre-90s Batman and even pre-80s Batman, and even Tim Burton's Batman is kind of
Comes back a little with Frank Miller.
Yeah, it comes back. Yeah, Frank Miller sort of brings it all back in the books and
See,
everything.
all I know is I just really like Dan Mora's new Absolute Batman.
See, I'm a sucker for just any Batman. Like, I don't care what
that's
version
because
he
he's
is.
pretty.
And I think,
But I don't think you understand because Absolute Superman is also very pretty.
Yes, that is something that all of the Absolutes are doing right now.
Dan Mora, you absolute savage.
But that's because Tom Taylor gave us an entire Nightwing run that people actually read all the way through.
Yeah, I did.
Nightwing is hot.
Yes.
And if Nightwing is getting Batman attention, guess what we have to do? We have to reintroduce Batman, but he has to be hot. Why? Because Nightwing got us attention because Nightwing is hot. It's comics.
DC, give me a whole entire Red Hood Tom Taylor themed.
You do know that they are with
Yes.
Red Hood and Nightwing, like they're doing an animated.
Yes, I know they're doing
know
the
about that.
animated. I want a comic.
Oh, you know what?
I want a comic.
I don't doubt that there's going to be one. There's going to be one. I don't know if Tom Taylor's going to do it, but there's going to be one. There has to be. Because, I mean, come on. Even I know that the Robin... Well, not even I, but the Robins are getting a lot of
Because
attention
Dan
right
Hood
now,
made
and I love it.
Dan Mora made a really, really good Red Hood. Bring him back.
Oh,
Bring him back.
Fine.
I don't think you understand his helmet is gorgeous. Bring him back.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
love
want
it.
it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyways, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's what I want.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because there are some episodes when we just recently redid the fan fiction one and we did it in several parts. I actually prefer that we did it that way because the first time we did it, we were doing the recording. The recording isn't great. We could not really hear each other.
It's also
feels
half
like,
on the PC and half not.
Yeah, and it just feels like the two people who know the most about the subject aren't able to really talk about it that much because of the recording issue, and so it feels more like Andy's just asking questions and you're not really able to adequately answer them because you're literally going, but that's the same question you just asked, kind of thing. Whereas with this, we went in with more detail ahead of time because
I literally came in with receipts.
Yeah.
Receipts.
Yeah,
Proof,
and then we could ask
timeline.
based on what we had in front of us, which I thought was really cool. So I think sometimes it's nice having had the opportunity to look back and redo some things, revise.
I will say another one of my favorite episodes, and it was literally just because of how chaotic it was and the fact that we had to take the tests in the first place, was Andy's birthday episode where he really went in. It was the Happy Birthday Gary Gygax episode because he had us do the D&D alignment test.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that one in forever.
We also talked in that episode what race we would be if we had a character. And every time somebody asks me what kind of D&D character I would be, I go back to that episode and I pull it up because I can never remember what the exact person that Andy suggested I should be was.
Yeah.
And it's like a specific race. And it's like a homebrew race. And so I never remember what it's called.
Yeah.
And so I will literally turn around and I will go listen to that episode so I can go tell people what my character is because I don't remember.
Yeah. I have a question.
Okay.
Since we've done a retrospective, let's do a...
Future
Prognostication?
Yes!
Is that what it's called?
Not technically a prognostication because we're not really foretelling anything.
Tony and Grant are using big words and it's going in one ear and out the other.
So
They're not speaking English anymore?
I'm curious what either of you thinks, like, what's something that we have yet to do? What's something we haven't done that you would like to see us do, or that you like are surprised we have yet to do?
A live one.
A live episode?
No, so you don't understand. So where I'm getting at is, like, let's say we have an outreach event.
Sure, yeah.
Us doing the episode at the outreach event.
Yeah, with an audience.
Like, recording it with people and, like, getting interactions from our patrons and things like that.
Yeah.
We haven't done something like that. That would be really cool to do.
Could actually
specifically
be really
during,
fun.
like, Artalicious.
Yeah.
If we were sitting out... So, for people who don't live in the area, we have Artalicious, the local art festival.
It's an art fair, yeah.
It's usually, like, 2 days. It's a weekend thing. We usually have a craft tent. Do it in the craft tent.
That would be really interesting.
Just do it in the craft tent. We could get people in and we could make that a thing. And it would be hilariously fun.
Don't forget that idea.
I won't forget that idea.
That's a
I
good
need to
one.
buy us a new cord for this so it doesn't go in and out if we're, like, on a table or something. But, like, something like that. Or if we did something more live where people interacted with us, we could make that a whole entire program. Like, learn how to podcast, record an episode with us.
Yeah.
Doing something like that, because that's what we do as librarians. We
That could be really
introduce
fun.
people to technology.
Yeah, to different things. Yeah.
So that would be a fun type of episode.
Sure.
That my brain was going, we should probably do something like that.
Sure.
Something that we're working on, dear listeners, is a whole entire nonfiction series.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think that will be really fun. I still have to choose my book. I think I'm
I
getting
know
closer
what
and
book I want.
closer. I think I know which one I want. I know what style of book that I want.
Oh, I already know.
But I'm not sure who I want to choose for you to read. Right now, it's a toss-up between Diana Wynne Jones and J.R.R. Tolkien.
For nonfiction?
She's more entertaining, and I think
Yes.
I personally have learned more.
I'd like to be more entertained than non.
But his is a great... If you want to understand...
How long
like,
is it?
Both are about comparable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, please do not give me
I think if you
half
want
of the wind.
No, absolutely not. No, I think if you want to understand, like, for example, like, for me, like, with Diana Wynne Jones, if I chose her, it would be because what I really love about that particular collection is that she gives you, through this collection of essays, in a sort of a random way, her brain as a fantasy writer, like, just on the page. Tolkien does the same thing, but I don't think that because of how Tolkien's, like, work is revered in the field, I don't think that you can ever see fantasy the same after reading his, because you suddenly realize, wait a minute,
Everybody's read
Lord
this
of the
book.
Rings was a giant accident. Like, no one thinks about it that way. Everyone who talks about it, who's read it and loved it, or watched it and loved it, they're like, oh, Tolkien was a master at this, that, and the third. And I'm like, no, he was a giant dork who literally spent 15 years accidentally stumbling his way through a plot.
Because he was traumatized from war.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. Like, Sanderson talked about, like, how, like, he's like, oh yeah, World War I, and it's kind of like Tolkien didn't want to admit it, but it really was World War I as an allegory, and it's like, no, it wasn't World War I as an allegory. It just turned into that because he didn't know how to write allegory. Do you know what it was? It was him being a giant geek for Old English epics that only he could read because no one else knew Old English, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, that's what you're getting with Lord of the Rings. He's not even trying to update it because he believed that literature stopped at the 19th century. He was like, nothing after the 19th century is good. So you shouldn't. He refused to teach it in his classes because he was like, the language doesn't make any sense. No one writes well. The plots are dumb. Like, he was really anti anything pre-19th century or post-19th century. So that's what's
He sounds
fascinating
like a
about.
crotchety old man, which I love that.
Absolutely, he is Bilbo. Like, Tolkien is
That's
Bilbo.
fair.
Yeah, right. So anyway, that's a whole thing. I'm not sure which one I want to choose yet, but I'll whittle it down. I'll do some reading and see what I want to do. So nonfiction, I like that. Grant, what's one that we haven't done that you're like, not necessarily itching to do, but like, hey, why haven't we done that? I wonder if we could do that, or
I don't know. However,
Sure.
I will say, diving into specific works, that's kind of an endless, a bottomless thing for us that we can do.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like something obvious that we haven't touched on.
I can think of two.
Yeah.
I know you can probably think of a few.
I think of more than a few, but there are two that I think one is more likely for us to do because it's not written by a TERF. But I still think that it's worth having, and maybe instead of doing a diagnostic of Harry Potter, because everybody's seen it, right, or read it, or experienced it, or not, or whatever.
Didn't we do a Harry Potter episode?
No.
No.
We've not.
What I would be interested in is if we had like one episode that was just devoted to the work itself, and then another episode that's devoted to what do we do with problematized work. Like, what do we do as readers, viewers, when we find out, hey, the person who created this is absolutely reprehensible, but I still love the thing, right? Like, because that's something we haven't done either, right? That would be really cool. The other thing we haven't done yet, which is really astonishing because Andy was on the podcast, we haven't done an Avatar: The Last Airbender episode.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
Did we?
Yep, we
Yep.
did. We could do another one.
It was one of Andy's birthday episodes.
It was!
Yep.
That's right, because we all got to decide what kind of bender we would be. Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's right, because Jen said she was bored. That's what it was. Yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah. She said after the first few episodes she was bored and stopped watching, and I was like, I feel you. That happened to me. The first two episodes are a bit slow, because they're setting up things, but okay, sure. Yeah, so, okay, anyway. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to a specific one I put forward, but I don't know if we're going to do it.
Are you spoiling it, or
I don't know. I don't know if I should spoil it or not.
Spoil it. What is it?
Okay.
What are you looking forward to?
Our favorite non-human characters in fiction.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we can decide this right now. Do we want it to be like specifically like dogs, cats, like pets, like actual animals, or just
everything.
any non-human?
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything.
All right.
Because then I can shout at you all about how Saphira will always be the best dragon ever. Even Smaug can't compare. I mean, he can't.
What's
Smaug,
Saphira?
Saphira? She's Aragorn's dragon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Saphira's the best dragon in that whole series, and she's the best dragon that ever breathed. And I know all of you dragon people are ready to kill me. I don't care.
If she's so good, then why doesn't she have a book named after her?
Because Aragorn's the main character.
I'm just saying, we have Brisinga and all the other.
I mean, none of the books are named after the dragons.
They're not? I haven't read it, so I don't know.
Brisinger's the name of his sword.
What's the name of his sword?